need you, long time, no update. Since I used last week's video to give you an example of my performances, we actually haven't talked for 2 weeks, actually talked about my project, so I'm sorry about that, but I'm here now to give you an update and tell you what has actually been going on in my project. So here it is. If you've been keeping up with my project, you will know that I spent not last week but the week before last doing my last bout of performances, which went relatively well. I was pleased with the turnout. I was able to do all the days I wanted to do, and I got my last bit of feedback. Now I'm transitioning from that stage of performances and evaluation. I am looking back over my notes that I've been taking during my D&D sessions with friends, as well as the stuff that I've been reading and books and so on and so forth. And I've also taken the feedback that I've gotten from the performances, and I'm sort of reading all the information and trying to think about how my project has been. Two things that I'm creating as end results for my project are a checklist for future products, as well as a score for a project that I will be doing for my final assessment in the last semester of my final year at university. Eek. So this week I tried to focus on creating that checklist, because I will be using said checklist on trying to create the score for my final assessment, so checklist first. I say this week, I did spend 3 days trying to get my last video, the performance video, up onto my channel. I don't know what happened, it just wasn't playing ball, and I have no one to blame but myself, so I am sorry that it took a while to get that video up. Anyway, beside the point, I kind of had a mental breakdown, major mental breakdown, trying to get that video up there, but that's cool, it's fine. Moving on from that sort of blip in my week, I spent the rest of the week focusing on the checklist. Obviously, the checklist is not in its final form. I will probably be tweaking some of these things, but these are some of the things that I'm definitely feeling are going on the checklist right now, like this. So here it is so far. First thing on the list is to remember KISS. Keep it simple, stupid. Whenever I tried to make things overly complicated, I felt that there was some people couldn't engage with the material enough. If I try and keep it relatively simple, engaging, and fun, then I am able to get the role-playing experience out there without pushing people away through overcomplication. So remember and keep it simple, stupid, but don't oversimplify, because then it's boring, and you don't want something that's boring. Second is balancing flexibility and time restraints. Obviously, I talked about before the importance of flexibility in this performances, and I stuck to it. I'm very fluid, sort of whenever they want to go off on tangents, I let them. But the main problem I found with this is that they can go on for hours, especially the people that know how to roleplay. D&D sessions usually last 4+ hours, and that's fine. That's a normal sort of D&D session, is to do so many hours. So when you're sat there with someone who wants to do all these things and spend ages on it, it can get out of hand really quickly. I have to include flexibility in my performances. It's one of the things that made the role playing engaging, and I had lots of positive feedback on that, but at the same time I have to try and make some sort of control in terms of length of time. Also, balancing description and action. Some people, when they roleplay, they just want to do the thing and go here and just get on with the storyline and the action, and some people like really deep description. I shouldn't sacrifice one for the other, because people are different and people enjoy different things, and I personally like both. So I have to find a way of balancing the two together and not sacrificing one for another. Personalization was quite popular. People liked the idea that they could personalize their character, but at the same time, I didn't get great feedback on the alignment system. Some people were confused, some people downright didn't like it. It can be really subjective, and people were comfortable with that, so I have to try and implement personalization in terms of what people can be, but at the same time, the alignment system didn't work out that well, unfortunately. Finally, a lot of people mentioned atmosphere. I had towards the end of the performances, a few people mentioned sound effects and music. Of course, when RPG and playing games, there's a soundtrack. There's sound that goes with the game. And a couple of sessions as well. I had a couple of thoughts of when people were trying to play music to the fighting. Sometimes the music sort of didn't work. It sort of detracted from it. It wasn't allowing people to focus. So trying to create a good atmosphere using sound and music was something that people mentioned. If I were to continue the research project, the performances, if I were to continue that on, that would be something that I would focus on. So I put it in my checklist as something to think about and maybe try and experiment with in rehearsals and see if it works. So that's pretty much the checklist as it stands. Of course, the more I read my notes and look into my performance and evaluate and think about what I've done, more things, some of these things might change. I might take some of these things off the checklist completely. I might add it on. I'm not sure yet, but this is where it started and it feels good. They're the points that sort of shot at me when I first sort of looked at my notes and first sort of started evaluation. These were 5 things that I thought were important, so that's pretty much where I am right now. And if you celebrate it, happy Thanksgiving for Thursday, and I will see you guys next time.